It is another Wednesday evening, time for another eclectic lineup of news, previews, reviews and interviews from NTA's News Top Table. Tonight, Nigerians fleeing Ukraine get federal government assistance as FEC approves $8.5 million for evacuation. Women in NAS impasse. Women are not letting go after bill for additional seats didn't pass at the National Assembly. House investigates duplication of functioning government agencies. In agriculture, no hold up in Lagos yam harvest. Farmers expecting huge yields. In culture, Nigeria and Turkey shake hands on cultural development. Two ancient kingdoms in Nigeria rekindle ties, celebrate return of looted artifacts. In health, we have a special on stroke prevention, medicine, and not a stroke of luck. We have these and other insightful packages for you tonight, so join us. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Morbuba, and this is News Extra. You're welcome. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on YouTube channel, NTA News Online. You can also visit our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, Facebook page, NTA Network News, and Instagram, NTA Network, for updates. The Federal Executive Council has approved the sum of $8.5 million for the evacuation of Nigerians stranded in Ukraine as a result of the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management and the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs in a joint press briefing explained that though more than 2,000 Nigerians, mostly students, have registered to be evacuated, the federal government made provisions for 5,000 Nigerians who may be affected and willing to return to Nigeria from where they are currently trapped. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Well, there is the saying that whatever affects the eyes will also affect the nose, and that is the situation we are having here in relation to the war between Russia and Ukraine. As back home in Nigeria, several homes have been affected as many Nigerians are caught up in the web of that war. And the federal government is leaving no stone unturned towards ensuring the safety of all Nigerians. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Zubairu Dada, informed the Federal Executive Council on progress made so far with respect to the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine.
We've held a series of interministerial meetings to see how best we can address this matter as quickly as possible. But again, as you would appreciate, there are issues of resources involved. And this is where Mr. President's involvement has been very helpful. And that has enabled us to conclude arrangements to actually dispatch 3 aircraft to 3 different countries to evacuate our citizens. These countries include Poland, Hungary, and Romania.
The ministry presented 2 memos. One is for Council to approve the national policy for the protection and assistance of trafficked persons in Nigeria. And the second memo is the memo on the protocol for identification, safe return, and rehabilitation of trafficked persons in Nigeria.
The Ministry of Women Affairs presented a memo on the national gender policy to the Federal Executive Council. This memo is a revised national gender policy 2021 to 2026. It represents a set of minimum standards expected of Nigerian government to meet its mandate for gender equality, good governance, accountability, and being socially responsive to the needs of its vulnerable group.
Minister of Women Affairs Pauline Tallinn is not discouraged by the response the ministry got from the National Assembly on the efforts to see to it that women are allotted more positions during elections.
I'm not generalizing. We are saying that for those that don't believe in it, we will continue to intensify our advocacy for them to believe in gender equality and the role that women can play when they are on the decision table to make Nigeria better.
Apart from humanitarian issues, the Federal Executive Council also approved another memo presented by the Minister of Aviation, Hadid Sirika. Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Publicity in the Office of the Vice President, Laulu Akonde, gives details on that.
By the Minister for Aviation, which got approval for the supply and installation of 2 sets of complete high-capacity passenger security screening systems for the Murtala Mohammed International Airports, Lagos, and the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
President Muhammadu Buhari is in Nairobi, Kenya, ahead of activities marking the 50th anniversary of the United Nations Environmental Programme, UNEP. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports that the president was specially invited to participate at the hybrid event by his Kenyan counterpart, Uhuru Kenyatta.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrives Nairobi International Airport about 10:30 Tuesday evening local time. Some senior Kenyan government officials, led by the Minister of Transport James Nchanga, were on hand to accord him a befitting welcome. Others at the airport were the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of State for Environment, National Security Advisor, Director General, National Intelligence Agency, Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, and other top officials of the Nigerian government. At the 50th anniversary celebration of the UN Environmental Programme, UNEP, President Buhari is expected to deliver Nigeria's national statement and participate in some high-level sessions on environment.
If you have followed President Buhari, since his administration began in 2015, he had shown keen interest in matters of the environment, because he will usually mention what happened to Lake Chad and the fallout in terms of criminality, in terms of joblessness, in terms of farmers and fishermen who were sent out of their livelihood. So anything that will enhance the environment, anything that will ensure that the environment is protected, President Buhari has always shown interest in it. So it's not surprising that is now at the 50th anniversary of the United Nations Environment Programme.
I understand he's going to deliver Nigeria's statement at the event. Yes. What will he be telling the participants?
Well, if you also have followed the conference of parties that the president also attends almost every year, Nigeria has been consistent in terms of its national statement that will cut emission by a certain percentage, will contribute this to protecting the environment. So I don't expect Mr. President to depart radically from what he had always maintained at the conference of parties.
The theme of the special session is strengthening UNEP for the implementation of the environmental dimension of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. For 50 years, UNEP has been coordinating global efforts at addressing the world's biggest environmental challenges. From Nairobi, Kenya, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And back home, presidential assent to the 2022 Appropriations Act came with observations for amendment. 3 weeks after the transmission of the amendment bill to the National Assembly, the Senate has passed it for second reading. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports that the bill seeks to provide additional 106.1 billion naira for capital expenditure and 43.8 billion for recurrent expenditure.
The urgency of the 2022 Appropriations Act Amendment Bill saw it being read for the first time on Tuesday, 1st of March 2022, and second reading a day after. The amendment bill seeks to, among other issues, provide for the funding of premium motor spirit subsidy for the fiscal year. restore the provisions made for various capital projects in the 2022 budget, reinstate the 25.81 billion naira removed from the power sector reform program and 1.42 billion naira for the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. It also seeks to transfer National Assembly's expenditure of 16.59 billion naira from the service-wide vote to National Assembly statutory transfer provision.
There are several other projects that have been included by the National Assembly in the budget of agencies that are outside their mandate areas.
All we need to do is, all these areas he has emphasized on, we will look into it one after the other and give our own critical analysis as to all of these that he has pointed out.
To the 254 projects, Mr. President, that we need to know those projects and then the issue of the replication, at what point and by who.
Second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriation to report back within 1 week.
Federal College of Education Special Afon Kwara State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Ibrahim Oloriegbe, and the Alvan Ikoku Federal University of Education Establishment Bill by Senator Francis Oyewuchi, also passed second reading.
A shortfall of teachers is one of the significant challenges of primary education in Kwara State and in Nigeria in general.
Alvan Ikoku Federal College of Education, by all standards, is prepared to take on the status of a University of Education, and the impact of this upgrade is promising.
Senate passed the Federal Capital Territory University Abuja Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Philip Aduda, and the Federal University of Environmental Technology, Koroma, Sapenwa, Tai Ogoni River State, sponsored by Senator Mpigi Barinada.
I'm grateful and happy that the University for the FCT in Abuja is being passed into law by the grace of God Almighty.
Senate, through a motion by Senator George Sekibo, directed its relevant committees to investigate the recurring incidents of soot particulate droppings and activities of illegal refining of crude oil in River State.
I urge the President to use his constitutional powers to support the government of River State, who have started to combat these criminal activities and fish out these national economic saboteurs.
The federal government to institute pollution tax, which can be scientifically measured, and the proceeds derived therefrom should be used to finance to clean the environment and provide medical cares to the affected communities.
The motion was co-sponsored by 7 other senators from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a coalition of women in Nigeria has besieged the National Assembly to express displeasure over the outcome of voting on some items in the ongoing constitutional amendment. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Ogunshola reports that the action led to the closure of the National Assembly gate.
Few days to the commencement of voting on the items listed for alterations in the 1999 Constitution, Nigerian women were at the National Assembly to lobby the lawmakers for favorable consideration of some items considered key to the well-being. Even as the voting was about to commence on Tuesday, they did not relent.
For Nigeria, there is victory.
But following the outcome of the process, they are here again, this time to express displeasure over rejection of some items they had long been advocated.
The first being issues of citizenship. We have a constitution by virtue of section 26 of section 2, which says that when a woman is married to a foreigner, the foreigner cannot become a citizen of Nigeria even by registration. Whereas they don't have a corresponding provision for the men.
We're not here to outsmart the men. We are here to say, let us embrace ourselves and together find ways to complement, to find solutions across sectors.
It is no longer going to be huru for them. And at this point, I want to thank the President for having assented to the Electoral Act.
Since 1996, we have been struggling. Today in Burundi, we have 60-40.
Now that the men have refused to pass it, let us now go back to ensure that we support ourselves to get into the National Assembly and other positions.
The coalition refused to speak with Senate delegation, insisting that they must meet with either the President of the Senate or Speaker House of Representatives. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
And Nigeria is making gains on the World Index of Ease of Doing Business EDB, moving from 145th in 2019 to 131st in 2022. The House of Representatives say duplication of functions of some government agencies may be counterproductive and so resolved to investigate such scenario. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that House Chief Whip raised the issue at plenary.
The motion from the House Chief Whip noted that there are about 1,500 agencies, departments, boards, parastatals and corporations in existence, some of which have similar functions. The investigation, he says, will help eliminate bureaucratic bottlenecks and unnecessary clash of interests which are counterproductive.
Establish areas of mergers, synergies and justification for the existence of some established agencies which are no longer needed in the country.
Also adopted is the motion from Balarabe Shehu Kakali appealing for the completion of the Sultan Abubakar International Airport, Sokoto, before the commencement of this year's Hajj.
Contracts were awarded in 2013 to upgrade and build a standard Hajj terminal as required by national and international aviation regulations. I'm concerned that 9 years afterwards, the Hajj terminal is still under construction.
House members urged the deployment of troops to Ihala in Anambra State to combat gunmen suspected to be IPOB militants who have been operating in that axis, as raised by Roland Igbapa, just as they supported the call on the need for authorities to provide mobile clinics on federal highways as moved by Bukar Ghana.
Victims may be held in captivity in a camp deep in Osumogu Forest, where by the account of an escapee, there's electricity, generators, SUV vehicle, and is likely a city of its own, where evil reigns.
Although some accidents are inevitable, a lot can be done to minimize fatalities through the establishment of functional road traffic clinics across the state of the Federation.
Meanwhile, an ad hoc committee is to be set up to ascertain the status of returned artifacts in Nigeria following a motion from Isiaka Yokunle. Plenary featured the first reading of 7 bills, while 4 passed second reading, including the bill seeking to expand offences relating to exam malpractices. Away from plenary, the senior special assistant to the President on National Assembly matters has briefed the press on achievements of this administration, enabled by speedy passage of bills.
Very critical legislations that have certainly impacted on the fortunes, futures, and opportunities of our great nation.
He congratulated House of Representatives for being consistent. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Finally, the dust of more than a decade that overshadowed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill has been cleared. This has opened a fresh platform for debate on the integrity of those reforms in future elections by stakeholders on NTA Tuesday Live. Abubakar Akwanga reports that the new law is now on a speed lane with the release of INEC timetable.
A legislative journey of many years to improve on the nation's electoral process is now realized with an additional booster, that is, the election timetable, to stimulate Nigerians' response to the new reforms. Stakeholders say the amended act addresses the lacuna that hitherto existed, especially in areas of internal party administration, electronic application, and other salient issues.
Electronic transmission, which we all argued, we are here in the Senate. The Senate said no, they don't agree with electronic transmission. But when the majority of Nigerians are of the view of transmitting electronically, we finally withdrew to go with the views of Nigerians.
They were expecting our timetable, and they knew that based on the new electoral legal framework, that political parties are obligated constitutionally and legally to submit the list and personal particulars of their nominated candidates 180 days to the conduct of election.
The penalty for violation of these reforms during any electoral exercise is also a milestone towards building confidence in the system.
Some party just fielding a candidate who is not even qualified But this time we have now put a caveat that even if a party forward a candidate that's not qualified, I mean the party will also be punished, or the party will also be charged to court.
INEC staff must sit up and must act and behave with candor and rightfully, because if they should do otherwise, they will be penalized in some of the other things.
Let's create a level playing ground. The National Assembly should take a more reflective, contemplative look at that law in a way that guarantees this fairness, this inclusivity, and then at the end of the day, level playing ground for everybody.
As the nation prepares ahead of another cycle of election, stakeholders believed that the future experiment of the new reforms would reduce tendencies of abuse of electoral process. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Let's head to Lagos now, where the role of the media as agenda setter and agent of change has taken the center stage as media practitioners, civil society groups, security agencies and other stakeholders converged on Lagos to review the performance of the media in 2015 and 2019 elections and also chart a course for the forthcoming 2023 general election. Candia DBC reports that hate speech and fake news were the core of deliberations.
The 2023 general election is gathering momentum as various political parties, the political umpire, civil society groups, and Nigerians at large are getting prepared. The media, being the fourth estate of the realm, is not left out as effort preparatory to enhancing objectivity and unbiased reportage has started.
Avoid hate speech, they should avoid fake news, and avoid also the tendency to be the first to carry the news, which is inimical to our profession.
This workshop, organized by the National Broadcasting Commission to brainstorm on lessons learned from 2015 and 2019 general elections in Nigeria, with a focus on hate speech and fake news, is one of the instruments vital for repositioning the media in delivering credible coverage during the 2023 general elections.
Most of it, as others have said, is in the social media, which does not really have journalists. You know, social media is made up of ordinary people. So the conventional media should do as much as possible to overwhelm the information that is coming out from the social media.
The Executive Director News of the Nigerian Television Authority, Mohammed Labo, who represented the Director General, says the NTA will continue to lead the fight against hate speech.
NTA does not propagate hate speech nor broadcast fake news, because we know the implication. And I congratulate the MBC for being very proactive, to bring together broadcasters across the country to discuss this menace. And I'm sure going forward, Nigerians will see a difference.
All the stakeholders present, while lending their voice to the issues of the subject of discuss, also emphasized the need to continue the campaign against fake news, especially as the country prepares for another election.
We're at a point where Nigeria needs to be more united than ever before. If nothing else, there are other issues that we must face squarely.
We will learn and we will take home and teach our own people, sensitize them on how best to relate with other sister agencies.
The passage of the Electoral Act and assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari, stakeholders here have agreed will inject credibility into the electioneering process come 2023. In Lagos, Kendi Adebisi, NTA News.
Oh, thank you, Candy. With 2023 general election in view, Nigerian workers are gearing up to scrutinize the candidates. The Nigerian Labour Congress, championing the initiative through a workers' political conference, has set priority areas that must be met by political parties before they can count on workers' votes. Emmanuel Ayumiro has that.
There is victory for all.
Considered a rescue mission, the conference, which has the theme Commitment to National Emancipation and Development through Effective Management by Nigerian Workers, is to ensure politicians are not allowed to evade critical questions of national development.
A Charter of Demand is a pact of emancipation for Nigerian workers and Nigerian people.
It is our duty to put it in the front burner of 2023 politics. We can make this happen by mobilizing every worker in Nigeria to get their permanent voters card.
So, preparatory to the 2023 general elections, stakeholders are of the opinion that this is the time to effectively mobilize, conscientize, and involve Nigerian workers in broader political engagements using the electoral process to improve the leadership recruitment processes in the overall long-term interest of the Nigerian working people.
Broader patriotic and emancipatory struggles for good democratic governance may, under the circumstances, help rescue the country and reposition it towards satisfying the fundamental needs and aspirations of all citizens.
The paper has tried to highlight some of the issues in terms of the development of the emancipation of our people, which is what is actually required at this critical time and point, in our nation's history.
NLC says a charter of demand has been set, which must be met by aspiring political leaders. Emmanuel Ayimiro, NTA News.
In the meantime, former NTA versatile female sports broadcaster and politician Modele Sharafa Yusuf has officially declared her intention to contest the 2023 governorship elections in Ogun State on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC. The one-time popular NTA sports correspondent and commentator announced her intention in Abeokuta, Ogun State, while addressing traders, supporters and party members at the Kampala International Market, and Lekon Agbode was there.
Just as the clock ticks down to 2023 and the political climate is gathering momentum, political gladiators in Ogun State are getting set to declare their intentions to participate actively in the forthcoming general elections. And so, one of them, a former special advisor to Governor Dapo Abiodun on information and strategy and NTA pioneer female sports broadcaster, Modele Sharafa Yusuf, says the time is now to make her intention known to the public. According to her, she is ready to make use of experience she has garnered over the years as a public servant and politician to turn things around in Ogun State.
My vision is to be a transformative and inclusive leader and make Ogun State the state of choice for people to live, work and play because of its educational, cultural and economic opportunities and because of its livability, connectedness, vibrancy and safety.
Speaking on behalf of market men and women, the Yaloja of Egba Land, Oluwakemi Oloyede, advised traders and party members to support the ambition of Mrs. Modele Sharafa Yusuf.
Let all of us women think very well. Let us support one of us to be governor. There are many benefits for us.
The veteran sports journalist promised that she would do things differently and move Ogun State to greater heights if given the opportunity to serve the people. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbode, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari joins members of Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG, the Christian community, particularly clergymen in Nigeria and abroad, in celebrating with Pastor Enoch Adeboye on the auspicious occasion of his 80th birthday, March 2, 2022. President Buhari felicitated with the wife, Pastor Foluke Adenike Adeboye, family members, friends and relations, as the General Overseer turns an octogenarian in dedication to the service of God and humanity. The President recalls his private and public meetings with the renowned preacher and teacher of the Bible over many years. Most remarkably, the visit when he was recuperating in London in 2017, appreciating Pastor Adeboye's warmth and friendliness, which he also extends to leaders and other from others from all walks of life. We take time out at this point for our first breather. But make sure you remain where you are, because when News Extra returns, we should tell you about the excitement of a people touched by government, thereby changing their narrative of age-long darkness to light. The popular Yam Festival is synonymous with the Igbos. Interestingly, however, Lagos farmers suddenly have a reason to celebrate yam. Want to know what this is all about and details when News Extra returns in just a moment. Don't stay with us.
What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Millions of Nigerians have received COVID-19 vaccine. I have taken my own. What about you? We have taken our own. What about you? I am strong and healthy. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? We are strong and healthy. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Go get, go get, go get, go and get your job. The hospitals, churches, and the mosques. Go and get your job. Health centers, hurry up now. Don't be late. Go and get your job. Bye-bye, Corona. Bye-bye, Corona. Get your job. This message is brought to you by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA.
The Senate Committee on Works hereby invites stakeholders and members of the general public to a one-day public hearing on a bill for the Act to repeal the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission Act 2005 and enact the Public-Private Partnership Regulatory Commission Act 2022. SB 823, scheduled as follows. Date, Thursday, 3rd March 2022. Time, 11 a.m. Venue, Conference Hall 022, ground floor, New Senate Building, National Assembly Complex, Abuja. Stakeholders expected are... Stakeholders are expected to submit 25 copies of their memoranda on or before the public hearing and visit the committee secretariat located at Suite 1.15, basement area, New Senate Building, or contact the clerk of the committee on 0703-5111-333 for any additional information. Senator Mohammed Adamu Alero, Chairman, Announcer.
The National Open University of Nigeria gives its students access to world-class education in undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Our courses are open to all eligible candidates, including secondary school leavers, private and public sector workers.
All programs are accredited by NUC and relevant professional bodies.
We make education easy, accessible, affordable and reliable with our high-class facilities to aid your studies. We are spread across the 36 states of Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory, so you can study with us anywhere and at your pace. We have a high entrepreneurial and employability skills with our degrees, and it is recognized in any university across the world. At National Open University of Nigeria, we will support you every step of the way with one goal in mind: success. Take a step today. Earn your degree with us. For further information, log on to www.nou.edu.ng. Now, university education without barriers.
There is a special invitation. Kogi State Government, in collaboration with the Central Planning Committee, invites the general public to the presentation of staff of office to His Royal Majesty Aga Abaidu Matthew Alhaji Opalua Oguchiakpat by His Excellency Alhaji Yahya Bello, Executive Governor of Kogi State. Date is 4th March 2022. Time 9 a.m. prompt. Venue at Tigerlas Palace, Ida, Kogi State. For inquiries, call the following numbers: 08037868592, 08037872751, 08065705896, 08036777736, and 08037159018. Publicity Committee Announcer.
The Federal Ministry of Environment, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, will launch the AFR 100 National Stakeholders Forum on Degraded Forest and Landscape Restoration in Nigeria under the African Forest Landscape Restoration Initiative, AFR 100. The platform is aimed at harmonizing activities to achieve federal government's commitment to restore 4 million hectares of degraded and forested landscape. The event is scheduled as follows. Date, tomorrow, Thursday, 3rd March 2022. Venue, Rockview Royal Hotel, Wusetu, Abuja. Time, 8:30 a.m. prompt. Engineer Hassan Musa, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Environment. Announcer.
Hey His Excellency Nyesom Ezenwo-Wike, CON, GSSRS, POS Africa, Governor, Rivers State, cordially invites the general public to the commissioning of the Ahoda Ekbena Roads project in Rivers State. His Excellency, the former Governor of Kaduna State, Ahmed Mohamed Makrafi, will perform the commissioning of the project. Date, Thursday, 3rd March 2022, time 11 a.m. All invitees must adhere to COVID-19 protocols, including wearing of face mask. You're welcome, Your Excellency, and all invited guests. Announcer Kelvin Iburi, Special Assistant on Media to the River State Governor.
Great to have you back. An all-stakeholder dialogue and land parcel survey are simultaneously progressing as part of the broad action plan towards actualization of the Kano-Katsina Maradi standard gauge rail track. The project now are the third phase of resettlement planning keeps generating enthusiasm, especially from host communities, which oversee in it prosperity far beyond the gains of compensation for their assets that are billed for takeover. Aminu Umar files in this progress report from Kano.
Groundbreaking ceremony for the 284-kilometer Kano-Maradi standard gauge rail track and 94-kilometer branch line to Dutse, performed by the President in September last year, is expected to connect the three Nigerian states of Kano, Jigawa and Katsina to further terminate at Maradi in Niger Republic. The project is at the third phase of resettlement process, which involves the development and planning of the resettlement with asset inventory and land parcel survey completed for two sections of the rail line. Cut-off date agreed upon with stakeholders for Section 1, which is Dawano to Kazaure, was 20th January 2022, while Section 2, Kazaure to Daura, was 1st February 2022. This agreement with stakeholders means no further claims to assets can be made for the sections where the asset inventory has been completed. The project, however, has instituted a robust grievance redress mechanism at the community level, whereby group or persons that have genuine claims or concerns about the project can fill a grievance form, which will be reviewed and responded by the project.
The critical component of the exercise is the stakeholder engagement component, and that is by ensuring that all the people who are directly or indirectly impacted by the project, either at the community level, at the state level, local government level, or by the ministerial departments and agencies of government, are adequately informed about the progresses that the project is making.
The community stakeholders in both Kano and Jigawa are on the same page with the project managers.
We came here to have a workshop and understand what are the importance of the road to us, the rail to us, and what are we going to communicate to our people, the developments that we are going to have, the pros and cons and pros of the project.
They all have a good understanding of the land parcel and socio-economic survey, with asset inventory being conducted on their lands. Their view of the exercise is beyond the takeover of their land, but the timely completion of the project because of their certainty in the multifaceted socio-economic gains associated with the project.
It is a welcome development. We know if this thing become a reality, definitely our people will be very happy, and it will give a chance for our people at least to have an employment and a very good business to take over there.
The project, which is due for completion in 2023, is envisaged to have socio-economic impact directly and indirectly on about 23 million Nigerians from the three affected states and beyond. In Kano, Amin Umar, NTA News.
Interesting. Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea have signed a memorandum of understanding to supply gas from Nigerian offshore fields to the neighboring Equatorial Guinea. This MOU kicks off a strategic economic collaboration across the Gulf of Guinea, wherein Nigeria's abundant natural gas reserves complement Equatorial Guinea's gas processing infrastructure. Lydia Sampson has that.
The recent passage of the Petroleum Industry Act, as well as Nigeria's Decade of Gas initiative, experts say, is creating the enabling environment which triggered conception of the project. The project, Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Temipre Silva says, also signals the joint effort of the two countries in working towards a greener energy world.
This is a moment that signals a new dawn in the relationship between Equatorial Guinea and Nigeria. There are so many things that will happen from here.
He said, whilst Nigeria is focused on domestic gas agenda, it is keeping an eye on the global gas market as well. On his part, Minister of Mines and Hydrocarbons of Equatorial Guinea said the signing of the MOU is a great example of cooperation between neighboring Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea.
A specific project that we have proof and fair that it could be done and it will be done.
As the global geopolitics of natural gas evolves within the context of the world transitioning to a lower carbon footprint, he says it is imperative to think differently to remain an important player in energy markets. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Nigerian motorists are no longer smiling. Reason is not far-fetched. The fact that their nation, blessed with enormous energy resources, is witnessing a lacuna in harnessing these resources for their benefit. How then can deliberations from the Nigerian International Energy Summit change this narrative? Lydia Sampson again tells us.
23-year-old Wisdom Okimba, a final-year student of the Department of Sociology from the University of Abuja, is volunteering at the Nigerian International Energy Summit as a shoe shiner. Wisdom, who takes pride in his assignment, says he's privileged to meet important personalities. Beyond that, however, his desire replicates that of all Nigerians.
The expectation is to see a Nigeria that has a good energy when it comes to electricity, when it comes to petroleum. Recently we had shortage of petroleum, and it affects a lot of industries, a lot of human manpower, productivity. But I want to see a Nigeria that has everything in place.
I mean, for every Nigerian and just for every human being, not just a Nigerian, the basic necessities of life is all we need.
Determined to meet the aspirations of Nigerians, the Nigeria International Energy Summit is seeking multi-solutions from driving data to the barrel as part of efforts to embrace and grow intelligence, leveraging on ICT and state-of-the-art technology. These key players say is to proactively tackle the downstream sector emerged in uncertainty.
His own contribution to the conference, as it were, but in the process, he's sharpening also his skills, where tomorrow he can employ a couple of people, give them the requisite tool for them to do this kind of job. So it's that entrepreneurship spirit.
I thought it was a commercial venture, but the guy said it's free.
Wisdom Okimba represents millions of Nigerians out there who are not privileged to be at this summit. However, like Wisdom, I believe most Nigerians are optimistic that deliberations here will come up with suggestions that will help solve the energy security challenges bedeviling Nigeria and indeed Africa. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
We're sure optimistic. Now, imagine a state capital that most times enjoys only a few hours of electricity in a day, with residents resorting to the use of generators as a source of power supply. And imagine this going on for decades. That is the story of Lafia, Nasarawa state capital. But now, good news. The federal government has changed this narrative with the construction of a new power substation. Joshua Jitu will tell us all about it.
Lafia, a strategic city connecting the eastern parts of the country with the north, but potential for economic prosperity constrained by poor electricity supply.
In fact, industry record shows that Lafia receives maximum of 2 to 3 hours of electricity supply in a day from the overloaded 132 kV power line from Apo in Abuja, the nation's capital, with ripple effect on businesses and social activities.
Majority of the
Federal government stepped in and contract awarded for the construction of 330, 132, 33 kV substation in November 2016, and workers mobilized to site in 2017.
By the time these things are in place, I can assure you Nassau State will be a completely different place.
4 years of excavation, drilling and installation. Project delivered and energized in November 2021, with residents of Lafia and environs enjoying uninterrupted power supply.
This is the best moment we have in our life in Lafia as far as electricity is concerned. For the past 20 years, we've never had it so good like we're having here.
Now, no any market for generators now, because all the people, they are enjoying the light in the town very, very well.
The patronage is low. People are no longer coming as usual.
I'm definitely sure that it will improve my business in terms of gain making. Because as it is right now, I don't have to spend much money on fuel.
For me, it's an excitement. It's not excitement just because we are having power in Lafia. The excitement is because it's an opportunity for those who are running away from Lafia that there is no power in Lafia. That's why they cannot come and invest. Today, they can feel free to come and invest in Lafia.
Constructed under the National Integrated Power Project, NIPP, the power line said to be the highest electricity infrastructure in the country, connecting Lafia with Ikot Ekpene and routes Enugu to Makurdi and passes through Jos to Gombe. It is expected to backfit the nation's capital, Abuja, and parts of Plateau State.
Quality electricity can turn around so many things. It can support the industries, it can support the population, the small-scale industries, SMEs, and so many more. Industries can spring up. If you live in Nasarawa, you have already seen the difference.
With the inauguration of the substation by President Muhammadu Buhari recently, and many others at various stages of completion in other parts of the country, industry players and electricity consumers say federal government investments in the power sector are yielding.
Thank you, Jito. Sure, good news all the way from Lafia there. Let's head to Lagos, where yam production in large quantities in Nigeria is identified mostly in the north-central region of the country, with Benue State, the food basket of the nation, leading the pack. However, farmers in Lagos State say they are working hard to join the league of these yam producers. Correspondent Ilyasu Yakub reports that the farmers made the assertion while receiving yam seeds as part of a federal government's agricultural inputs intervention to farmers devastated by flood in the state.
In view of the topography of Lagos State, as it is surrounded by river and ocean, with more concentration in other businesses than farming, one would have expressed doubt if there can be any substantial production of agricultural yields. But with the number of farmers that flooded the yam seed distribution center from the 8 local government areas affected by the 2020 floods, the earlier assumption may no longer hold waters. The farmers say if this commendable initiative of the federal government can be sustained, the hike in prices of foodstuff will soon crash.
We are so happy, and we are grateful to the federal government for responding to the cries of farmers.
In fact, this is what we need now. When the government can assist the farmers, they are already assisting the nation.
This is a wonderful gesture. We are really, really happy about it.
We made sure everybody had something to go home with, especially those who have large-scale farms.
Physically challenged farmers Adesanya Ashekun and Salami Kazim also joined the League of Yam Farmers in Lagos State, hoping to achieve bumper harvest.
At least by having this one, after the outcome, it will make me to get more of it.
With these sustained efforts of the federal government in deploying agricultural inputs intervention to farmers across the country, key players say Nigeria will soon attain the global status of agricultural hub in the world. From Lagos, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
It's now time for us to talk business, and we have Benny Adams with that. So let's do business. Benny, over to you.
Thank you, Fatih, and welcome to business. We start by telling you that the Secretary General African Petroleum Producers Organization, APO, Dr. Farouk Umar Ibrahim, has advocated increased investment in technology to increase oil and gas production in Africa for the continent to meet not only her energy needs but to raise revenue for infrastructure development. Dr. Umar made his stand known during a live conversation on NTA's Prime Business Program, Business Express in Abuja.
You have no reason not to invest a lot of money that you make from oil, especially when you have periods of windfalls, into mastering that technology.
He shares his view on solution to disruption in global energy supply.
Focuses on refining. The issue of scarcity will be a matter of the past.
And to the capital market, investors lost 65.72 billion naira as the oil share index dipped by 0.26%, erases previous day gain, as equities market closed at 47,482.73 basis points. Market capitalization stood at 25.5 trillion naira. 279.9 million shares worth 4.1 billion naira were traded in 5,620 deals. Market breadth closed negative as Royalex led 15 gainers as against 32 losers, topped by Nigerians at the end of today's session. Transcap, Universal Capital and Access were the most active to boost market turnover. That is business news. Fatih, it's nice doing business with you.
It is always nice doing business with you, Benny. Now, the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria has resolved to continually ensure the training of competent professionals through the deployment of technology. This was at the first session of mandatory professional development program in Abuja with the launch of a digital hub. Neka Oko reports.
The accounting profession today is poised to move in with global trends by leveraging on the opportunities technology offers for seamless execution of accounting procedures. The conversation here is x-raying emerging trends in accountancy with a view to entrenching professional ethics in members through training and retraining.
We are not the first nation in the world to get a digital hub. And we acknowledge the help of our partners, CPA, Ireland, and ACCA, and such bodies. But what we are saying is that we have gone on to domesticate this skill and create here skills and tools that will enable Nigerians to excel. And this theme for this year is contemporary development in public sector and financial management. All this is geared towards training the members of the association.
For some members of the association, there can never be any missed opportunity.
This program is usually held every year, and it is expected as an accountant, every year you get to renew what you have already learned.
This has changed my life so many ways, especially in the digital era that we are in now.
The new digital hub is designed to offer the association and its members a comprehensive customized platform for an interactive and engaging learning experience. In Abuja, Neka Oko, NTA News.
If you are a historian, then listen to this. Jigawa, a town 33 kilometers from Birnin Kebbi in Kebbi State, founded in 1804 by one of the disciples of the renowned Islamic revivalist Usman Danfodio, has continued to maintain dominance as one of the leading commercial centers, not only in Hausaland but the north at large. Jafar Yusuf Ilu tells us how it all started.
The first time visitor to Jigawa, the headquarters of Jigawa local government area in Kebbi State, from either Birnin Kebbi, Sokoto or Kontagora, you are likely to be intimidated by the hustle and bustle generated by the intense commercial activity in every part of the town. It is certain you will be confronted by a meandering river that is helping people in the area to engage in farming activity all year round, among other ventures to raise individual income. A first-time visitor cannot also escape seeing young female butchers trading in raw meat, a phenomenon that one sees here only in the entire Hausa land. Jigawa is home to some prominent Nigerians like current EFCC boss Abdurrashid Bawa, the famous one-time INEC boss Professor Attahiru Jigawa, and his brother Mahmoud Jigawa, one of the leading newspaper columnists in the country. A first-time visitor is also certain to meet Jigawa as a mini Nigeria, owing to the fact that most tribes have found in the town home. Why is Jigawa so unique and outstanding in commercial activity and other dispositions among its peers in Hausaland?
But in Jigawa, you can access any part of West Africa. When you look at Jigawa strategically, if you are coming down from the far south Nigeria, you have to reach Jigawa before going to any other part of Hausaland.
Our people, they engage themselves in businesses. And what prompted that is we got blessing from our forefather, Abdul Salam Dagimbana, because he prayed that this place will be a commercial center, and this place will make a name.
To most settlers in the town who have lived there for decades, Jigawa is also home away from home.
They welcome individuals. We sit together, we play together, we do business together. Whatever I don't know, the Jagama can teach you. You also will follow him and get what you want to get and achieve what you want to achieve.
I've been here almost 20 years now, or 23 years in Kebbi State, in Jigawa. Even the people of here living with, they're now calling me Emeka Yaro Mehanchi because I serve here. My guy is Mehanchi, so they give me that name, Emeka Yaro Mehanchi.
From whichever of the three exits a visitor is leaving Jigawa, the memories of the hustle and bustle, young female butchers, among other spectacles, lingers.
Well, you said Jigawa is home away from home. I think I'm going to visit Jigawa very, very soon. Spirituality is on the upswing mode as Orthodox Christian faithful the world over observe Ash Wednesday, signaling the beginning of the Lenten period, just as there are high pointers to the fact that this year might just be a dream come true for Nigerian Muslims intending to perform Hajj in Saudi Arabia. Our next segment is simply a mixed grill of culture, religion, and much more. So join us again for all the details right after this break.
My son, calm down now. Why do you sweat like I'm rubber?
My uncle no go bite. Uncle! What up? Uncle, meet Andy. He has come to ask for my hand in marriage.
Good morning and good afternoon, sir. What about good night? Have you seen a movie? What nonsense.
Son, you are in control.
No, sir. It's my parents in the village. I'm doing a video call since they can't be here.
Glow Bracketed Plus is here. Existing Glow customers will get 400% bonus on every recharge and 100 MB data bonus on first recharge of the month. New Glow customers will get 1,000 Naira welcome bonus. To activate, buy a new Glow SIM today or dial *777# for existing Glow customers.
I suppose human life has more definition to it with the moments they share, the memories they keep, the striving that's got no limit, the rhythm they feel, and the occurrence they are never prepared for. Ouch. Life happens, but Samsung Care Plus has got you covered. To enjoy screen repairs for as low as 9,000 Naira. Kindly visit www.samsung.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh boy.
Why can't I go before I lose my cool? I love you even faster.
Mila, you go to your left. Just gotta do it.
Thank you for the rejections. That taught me to keep striving. Thank you for the long hours. That taught me discipline. Thank you for the knockdowns. That taught me to bounce back. And for the unexpected victories, that taught me to never give up.
Please welcome Dr. Jigawa.
Thank you for making me who I am.
Developing the nation's human resource.
Coming off a heartbreaking loss in the League Cup final, the Blues will seek to salve their wounds when they visit Turf Moor. This Saturday, it's Burnley versus Chelsea on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu, empowered by Integral.
Thanks for being there. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on YouTube channel, NTA News Online. You can also visit our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, Facebook page, NTA Network News, and Instagram, NTA Network for updates. Okay. The importance of prayers and fasting as a means to draw nearer to God towards receiving His blessings cannot be overemphasized. This is coming as Christians mark this year's Ash Wednesday. Amenka Amarachku reports that the event is an avenue for repentance and reconciliation.
This is not the usual Sunday worship for Christian faithful. These faithful are worshipping to commence on the Lenten period, which is called Ash Wednesday. It is a reminder for reconciliation with God and the suffering of Jesus Christ. As a tradition, the faithful converged in churches to mark the day.
And it's a day, of course, we begin with the three pillars: fasting, prayer, and almsgiving. Very important in this period.
We fast in order to mortify our bodies so that we'll be able to pray better. Now, what we do not spend on food because we are fasting, it is now proper for us to use in almsgiving.
It also tells us that we are mortals. A day will come that we are going to die. And so we begin to prepare for that day now.
During Ash Wednesday, it is traditional for many Christians to place a sign of cross made of ash on their forehead.
Just abide by the rules and regulations, follow the way of God.
Today, we are all advised in any way your strength can take you to start your Lent today.
At the NTA Chapel of Resurrection, members were admonished to use the period to fast and devote more time to pray.
Christians should pray more. We all know the situation that this country is in. We need a lot of prayers.
The whole essence symbolizes repentance. In Abuja, Omenka Machku, NTA News.
Good tidings to Nigerian Muslim pilgrims as 2022 prospective Nigerian Muslim pilgrims are hopeful of participating in this year's Hajj to Saudi Arabia. Chairman National Hajj Commission of Nigeria raised the hope at the Commission's meeting with chairmen and secretaries of state Muslim Pilgrim Welfare Boards and agencies of the 36 states and FCT. Musa Saleji reports.
It is no longer news that the outbreak of COVID-19 has dealt blow to every segment of life all over. While the apprehension of the scourge has considerably reduced, for Saudi Arabia 2 years on, the country restricted pilgrims outside its shores to take part in Hajj exercise. The country later decided to subpedal on its decision and allowed only the participation of Umrah, the lesser Hajj. Unfortunately, at the discovery of COVID variant last year, Nigeria alongside 21 other countries were delisted from entering the kingdom.
Since the ban, we had never sat down for one single day.
That has been the concern of both Nigerian Hajj managers and the intending pilgrims who have been depositing their fear in anticipation of the exercise.
The last time we held meeting in July, the light was red, but the light is no more red. The light is amber, closer to green than red, because for the first time in about 2 years we have received official communication from Saudi Arabia intended to kickstart usually what begins the Hajj operation, which is signing of the memorandum of understanding. Our hope is that it will be very soon. What it now means is that we must all live here to get prepared for Hajj 2022.
This year's Hajj is expected to take place in next 5 months. Musa Suleja, NTA News.
The Oba of Benin has called for preservation of the nation's historical monuments for prosperity and posterity and development. The Benin monarch stated this during his royal visit to Alake and paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Adedotun Aremu, in Abeokuta, Ogun State, and Lekon Agbode reports.
The visit of Oba Benin, who was received by his host, the Alake and paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, depicted the brotherhood and traditional relationship which transcended the two kingdoms. The Oba of Benin, who said he was happy to visit Egbaland, where he noted his grandfather had earlier resided, explained that preservation of the nation's artifacts is crucial and such artifacts should be kept within the palace. He expressed gratitude to the federal government and the Nigerian ambassador to the United Kingdom, Sharafa Atunji Ishola, for their efforts towards the return of the artifacts. Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, while appreciating the Oba of Benin for the visit, said the people of Egbaland were happy to welcome the king and his entourage to Egba Palace. A royal brass cast effigy of Oba of Benin, sitting in royal and spiritual position, and a 7-kilogram book of Benin anthropology, cartons of wine glass embossed with logo of Oba of Benin, and clothing materials were presented to Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo as royal gifts from Oba Ewuare II.
The Benin monarchy, an anthropology of Benin history, a fashion of part of Benin history.
In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Sharing one from there. With peace gradually returning to the northeast, the Kingdom of Sukur, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, after a series of disruption, marks Yawo, one of its annual festivals. Abdullahi Mohammed reports that the volume of traffic to the festival not as usual, but hopes are high that more people will attend the next outing.
The cock crow and the full blast of the sun. The uphill task of steps up the Mandra Mountain and the flamboyant cultural wonders of the school kingdom in the offing. The march to the Yowal Festival ground with the drums at their peak. And all of a sudden, the drumming stops and it takes another kind of rhythm, that is to respect the dead. The king's battle shield guides title holders to throw space of protection to the kingdom, then the sacrifice to the gods to say thank you for a bumper harvest. Long life and prosperity to the kings and kindred of the land.
This is purely traditional.
The rounds of drumming and dancing with interjections, a testimony to the return of peace to the northeast. The side attractions were exciting. Sips and crunchy chews, especially for a foreign journalist recording the factuality of the situation in the once dreaded region.
So it's a positive occasion today, and it's a celebration, hopefully, of a more happy and peaceful future.
We are experiencing a renaissance of our culture. So we know that it will grow, it will be big at an exponential level.
What's significant is the impact of the intervention of the African International Documentary Festival Foundation.
And one of the things that the interventions that we have also received was from the Northeast Development Commission, which I must commend the chairman, the board of the Northeast Development Commission, and also the management under the leadership of General Tarfa.
A rousing welcome back to the ancient palace and artistry of the stone. And above all, the drums and hills to the king, whose reign is bountiful. In Sukkur, Madagali local government area of Adamawa State, Abdullahi Muhammad, NT News.
When you see Nigerian culture like this, it just make you, have this shivers, I tell you. I'm so proud to be a Nigerian. Now, Nigeria and Turkey are strengthening their diplomatic relationship towards promoting culture, tourism, and the movie industry. Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Ronshewe, while receiving the Turkish ambassador to Nigeria, Hidayat Electoral to NCAC's office in Abuja, said the council is prepared to make this year's International Arts and Crafts Expo bigger and more cultural friendly, where diplomatic community will share ideas at different levels. The ambassador commended the council's efforts in creating a platform to showcase both countries' rich cultural heritage.
We use culture as a major tool of bringing Nigerians together.
Mm-hmm. Your organization or agency, I would say, and we'll do a lot of, from now on, have the opportunity to do something in common. So,
relation between Nigeria and Turkey dates back to 1962. Women are said to be homemakers, change makers, and when they set their hearts to do right, they do it to the last, recognizing the role of her efforts in implementing government's policies for ordinary Nigerians. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, has been awarded the 2021 Dususu Gender Minister Award for her role in humanitarian interventions in Nigeria. Ruth Agwele reports that this is the first time in the continent the recipient of the award transcends the gender criteria into humanitarian leadership.
Hard work, they say, pays when one is consistent. Nigeria's Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, was beckoned to come forward for recognition for her steady hand in the humanitarian interventions in the country. She's been recognized with the 2021 Dususu Gender Minister Award by a non-governmental organization. Colleagues attested to her contributions to the development of women, girls, and children.
And if you look around Nigeria, and just through our political history, we couldn't and can't find a better epitome of that for which we've come to power than Sadia Umar Farouk.
Sadia has actually done beyond the expectations of everyone. Because it's a tough thing to start a new ministry and then another thing to keep up to expectations. She's passionate about people's empowerment because we talk about women, we talk about men, boys, girls, people living with disability.
She has been in this journey. She has been extremely dedicated to Mr. President because her ministry is one of legacy, and it will be the legacy of this government. If Saidia succeeds, the government will succeed.
However, taken as a whole, along with all the programs under my purview, we have made a conscious effort to mainstream gender considerations and ensure that women are enabled to change makers in their immediate communities and beyond.
In spite of the daunting challenges confronting women, efforts such as these will help signpost new frontiers being broken. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Also, congratulations to her. Now, so far, so good, and can only get better if you hang in there as health holds sway in the next part of News Extra, especially if you are interested in knowing how to keep the medical emergency called stroke at bay, like I am. We will be right back.
To the right. Mila, you go to the left. Just gotta do it.
Thank you for the rejections. That taught me to keep striving. Thank you for the long hours. That taught me discipline. Thank you for the knockdowns. That taught me to bounce back. And for the unexpected victories, that taught me to never give up.
Please welcome Dr. Jigawa.
Thank you for making me who I am.
Our pastors, our imams, in every church, in every mosque, please realize that in the course of praying for peaceful and transparent elections, we all have duties beyond prayers. If we want a stable society before, during, and after the elections, what should you be saying to those that worship with you? All Sundays and all Fridays, you are saddled with the responsibility of bringing up good generations. It is therefore your duty to both man and God to ensure peace all the time, no matter about elections alone. People talk to people and people listen. Talk to your followers. Make them listen to ensure peaceful 2023 elections. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Coming off a heartbreaking loss in the League Cup final, the Blues will seek to salve their wounds when they visit Turf Moor. This Saturday, it's Burnley versus Chelsea on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu, empowered by Integral.
The family of Udora announces the passing on to glory of their beloved husband, father, brother, and uncle, Chief Udora Chukwuma Peterside. He died on the 2nd of January 2022. He was aged 71. Burial arrangements. Thursday, 3rd of March 2022. Vigil Mass at Catholic Church of the Resurrection off Direct Labour Road, Asaba. Time 5 p.m. Friday, 4th of March 2022. Lying in state in the family compound. Body departs from Federal Medical Center, Asaba, for a brief stopover at his residence, Ambassador Leo Okogo Close, off Direct Labour Road, Asaba. Time 7 a.m. Funeral Mass at St. Thomas Catholic Church, Okuanala. Time 10 a.m. Interment follows immediately after Mass at his compound, Okuanala. Reception is at Anala Primary School Field, Okuanala. May his gentle soul rest in peace. Amen. Announcers Honorable E.O. Udora and Anthony C. Udora.
You're welcome. Certain conditions such as hypertension, high cholesterol, irregular heartbeats, and diabetes, medical experts say, increase the risk of having a stroke. On the other hand, good night sleep, physical activity, and less salt intake, among other healthy lifestyles, help in keeping it at bay. In this next report, Rabi Abdullah tells us more about how to prevent this medical emergency said to be on the increase among the populace.
Experts define stroke as a serious life-threatening medical condition that occurs when the blood supply to parts of the brain is cut off. This could either be as a result of blood clot, which accounts for 85% of all cases, and bleeding, that is where a weakened blood vessel supplying the brain bursts.
So somebody can say, hey, I woke up this morning, I felt some tingling in my hand, some weakness, my face was, I couldn't speak well. The next day is normal. That's mini stroke. That's a warning stroke. And it shouldn't be ignored. Why? Because 30% of people who present that way, who have this warning stroke, can have a permanent stroke or a completed stroke in a year. Start blaming somebody that they tried to kill you, or you prayed and God heard your prayers, instead of going to seek attention to say, this is what I experienced, and then they would do what science has told us to do. Some stroke that is large enough to affect the large amount of brain, somebody may die.
In the absence of a stroke center in the country, emphasis is on prevention, which entails making modest changes in lifestyle and imbibing healthy habits.
The fact that your blood pressure is normal doesn't mean you can have a stroke. The fact that you don't have cholesterol, you don't have diabetes, you don't smoke, you don't have high blood pressure, you don't drink, doesn't mean you can have heart attack. So absence of risk factors is not the same thing as, it's not a guarantee that you can't have any of those. You can change not to smoke. You can manage your diabetes, correct? You can treat your blood pressure. You can decide to be active and have manageable weight. But you can't change your genes. You can't change your sex. And you can modify your age.
Exercise. It's recommended on average basis that we should exercise at least for 30 minutes every day. And if you cannot do that, at least 30 minutes every other day. It is strongly encouraged that 50% of our diet should be green vegetables and fruits. Meditation is when we actually helps us to actually refocus. Good sleep is also very, very important. The best time to go to bed is 10.
Findings indicate that about 1 million people in this part of the world suffer from a stroke every year. Classified as a medical emergency, people having a stroke need immediate medical attention to improve the effectiveness of treatment and reduce their risk of death or long-term side effects. In Abuja, Rabi Abdullah, NTA News.
Well, I heard him say that the best time to go to bed is at 10, and I'm still here on News Extra. Well, health they say as well, so let's just keep healthy. We take our final break for the night and then bring you a bit of sports. Please stay.
That in the last decade, this country has been at different wars trying to keep the peace and promote the sovereignty and the integrity of the country. The troops are doing their best. The president has given them all the necessary tools. It is left for us as young people and as Nigerians to give them all the support we can. We say kudos to all our gallant military men. Please, whenever you see a police officer in or out of uniform, if you know them, clap for them whenever they need be. Give them seats in buses and trains and airplanes. Have the airline managers reduce air tickets for them or train tickets for them. Show them that we appreciate what they do and show their families that there is something right and honorable and truly remarkable about wearing a uniform and going into the bushes and the forest to fight enemies of this country that are hell-bent in bringing your life to an end. It's a very tough time, but we have to all put our hands together. Please support our troops. and support our police officers.
Coming off a heartbreaking loss in the League Cup final, the Blues will seek to salve their wounds when they visit Turf Moor. This Saturday, it's Burnley versus Chelsea on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu, empowered by Integral.
In sports, Cynthia Ogun reviews the just concluded second edition of Rear Admiral Festus Pobeni boat race at the newly commissioned Jabi Lake Training Center.
Plans to develop water sports to an enviable height in the country are now feasible. The official inauguration of the first National Canoe Training Center in West Africa is one of the many plans by the Nigeria Rowing, Canoe and Sailing Federation. The center, located by the shores of Jabi Lake, was handed over to the FCT administration as host state, a move expected to attract more residents to water sports.
With the commissioning of this place that was approved by the Minister of State, by the FCT themselves, for Team Nigeria to be training, commissioned today by them and handed over to us.
The aesthetically pleasing Jabi Lake hosted the 2022 edition of Admiral Pobeni Boat Race, where 131 athletes around the country participated in 15 categories for 3 days.
This rowing and sailing is started so as to nurture athletes, bring them up, train them to get podium in either national or international competition.
We know that Nigeria is blessed when it comes to potential in all sports. They just need that push. They just need that awareness, to push them.
It just requires that we identify and nurture the potentials. And one of the very way we can do this is by arranging more frequent competitions and events like this.
In the women's category, Ayomide Bello was undisputed, setting a new African record with a timing of 49.49 seconds to win gold in the C2 200 meters mixed double with Pere Pagamote.
With a lot of training, constant training, good equipment, like seriously, the truth is, in world and in Olympic, we can bring the gold medal, not silver medal.
Moses Michael, representing Team Delta State, dominated the men's category as he paddled to victory in both C1 and K1 events.
It's a very nice competition that is really improving, as in really building us up. I'm very confident that this will take a lot of athletes to the highest level if this is done continuously.
The championship was the official curtain raiser on the 2022 calendar of Nigeria Rowing, Canoe and Sailing Federation. And with the commissioning of Jabi Lake Training Center, it is believed athletes now have a standard platform for training ahead of national and international competitions. Cynthia Ogun, NTA News.
Well, thank you so much, Cynthia, for the sports package. But that concludes News Extra for tonight. But before we go, remember to join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. Thank you so much for being a part of News Extra tonight. I am Fatima Umar Buba. Remember, stay healthy, live healthy. Bye.
This week